Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is going to be my first solo attempt on the main quest for Terminus, and so for my loadout, I'm going to be going with the KSV. This gun's actually really nasty, and as you can see, it has a good fire rate, good damage, and also good mobility. And when you compare these stats to a lot of the assault rifles, it looks pretty good. I have watched a few guides on the Easter egg, and I've seen the engagement range when you're on the final boss fight, and I think 14 to 37 meters will be good. I don't think the final boss is beyond 37 meters, so we should be good with this KSV. Really curious to see how it does. I know a lot of people have been using the akimbo pistols and pack punching those, but I wanted to give this a try and do something different. I also made this custom pack for gobblegums, and when we go in and take a look, so I brought in hidden power, which upgrades your gun instantly to gold rarity, so I'm going to use that on the KSV. And we got perkaholic, so we can get all perks right away, save some money. Shields up if I ever am about to go down or need to pop shields. Also, your armor is twice as strong, so that's pretty crazy buff right there. I'm definitely bringing this one into the boss fight. Killjoy, it spawns an insta-kill. I'm not sure if that may help us in the boss fight. If we're ever getting a pinch, and then free fire consumes no ammo. So these three I'll be bringing into the boss fight, and these two I will already have consumed before we get in there, alright? So let's hop into the match and see how this goes. Okay, so we're about to head in, and one thing I'd recommend is looking at your augments, and specifically for the ammo mods. And once I go into the boss fight, I think I'm going to put cryo freeze on my main. I've always been a big fan of cryo freeze. It just lets you move around easier and get hit a bit less. So I think this is what I'll be using on the KSV when we go into the boss fight. And as you can see, I have the augment that applies to elites, and then also it increases the duration of the effect, so pretty good. And this is the overall loadout. I wish I had some other things like decoys or whatever, but it's alright. And honestly, as a solo player, if I could choose, I would definitely bring in Aether Shroud, because that's a really easy thing to just pop Ether Shroud, and it basically is like a get out of jail free card. It's almost like a second self-res if you're ever about to go down. Healing Aura is pretty good too, but I personally like the defensive abilities more as a solo player as opposed to these offensive ones which kind of do damage, so that's just something to keep in mind as well. But let's get into the mission. Alright guys, here we are loading in. You're going to want to start by turning on power. There's 3 devices you have to go up to turn on power. And remember to always go prone in front of the perks for that loose change. And here's the second device. Now, when you leave the first spawn area, you'll come across some AI guards, and if you see one of their guns, go ahead and pick it up, because that way you can save some money on not having to refill guns, ammo, and then also interact with the gobble gun machine, because the cooldown's like 4 minutes. You don't want to try to be getting all of your gobble gums at the very end. You want to kind of do it throughout the match to save time, so just keep that in mind. Once you're done with the final power station, whatever you want to call it, go ahead and bring the lift up and get dead wire. You're going to need dead wire to unlock the crafting room for the wonder weapon. And you shoot these electrical boxes with dead wire, just like that, in that order, those 3. And then you're going to want to shoot that one right there. And lastly, this one to open the door. Next, you're going to want to start getting stuff to craft a wonder weapon. To do that, you need to kill that zombie that's trapped on the floor in there. And he's going to spawn that gold item. With that gold item, I wrap around this way because I didn't need to open doors, so I just save money. But in this room over here, there's that briefcase with the hand, and you're going to want to pick up that multi-phasic device. And then put the device into this computer, and then to solve this equation you need to turn on the 3 radio station towers. And at first I thought my game was bugged because the little post-it notes with the X, Y, and Z icons weren't popping up. So to get those icons, post-it notes, you have to turn on these 3 power stations. You just walk up to them and interact with them, super easy. Go ahead and turn those on. Last one's right here. And then once you get those on, when you go back to the machine, you'll see the icons, and I'll show you guys how to solve this right now. Okay, what's up guys? So it's not nighttime anymore, so I can talk in my normal voice, but I wanted to show you guys how to solve this. So it's quite simple. It looks like a lot, but it's really not that difficult. And if you have trouble with this, you can always just pay 5,000 essence to get the numbers to input. But for me, I'd rather use that 5,000 on Pack-a-Punch or Perk or whatever. So this is how you solve it. It's X, Y, and Z. There's 3 variables. Each variable is represented by its own icon. And you figure out the number by looking at this. So for X example, we have the black bar going this way. So this is our X variable. And how you determine the number, the first digit is on the left. So the number starts with a 2, and then the last digit is beneath it. And it ends with a 2. So that means X is 22, okay? Then for Y, we do the same thing. We come over here. The first number is 2, the second number is 1, so Y is 21. And then lastly, Z is the black circle in the front, empty circle behind it, and this is 11. So now that we have these 3 numbers, all we need to do is plug them into the 3 different equations here. Let me, here we go, so the equations are right here. I'll write them down to the right in a second, and then we'll just plug in the numbers and solve. For number 1, we got 2, X is 22, plus 11. 22 times 2 is 44, plus 11, 55. Okay, so the first number that's going to go into this slot right here is 55. Equation 2, we have 2Z plus Y minus 5. So that is 2 times 11 plus 21, and then minus 5, okay? That's 22 plus 21 is 43 minus 5 is 38. And then the final equation, okay? So we got Y, which is 21 plus Z minus 22. So this is 32 minus 22. And that equals 10. So now we know our sequence is 55, 38, and 10. That is the solution, and that's how you save 5,000 if you want to. Alright, and then you're going to want to go ahead and input those numbers that you just solved for, or again, you can pay for them, whichever you prefer.
Well, we a little overachieved.
And then you're going to have to wait a few rounds for the machine to tell you. You see that grid on the screen, it tells you where to go. Make sure to pick up the device, the multiphasic device from the computer. Don't head here without it. Then you're going to walk up to that blue orb and place the multiphasic device below it. You'll see it on the ground, and when you see it on the ground, hordes of zombies are going to spawn, and you see certain zombies that have the same color as the orb. When you kill them, you just pick up the essence or whatever and drop it off in the orb. You do that twice for each color, and I almost went down doing this because I didn't have Juggernaut or Pack-a-Punch gun. More importantly, I think I needed Jug. As you can see right here, I almost ended up going down. This was, for me, one of the sketchiest parts of the whole Easter egg, so I kind of had a brain fart and didn't have any perks on round 10, which is kind of not good. As you can see, I'm basically one-shot, so just be mindful of that. I was kind of trying to rush things. I was watching a tutorial while doing this. This was literally my first run, and I hadn't played, I probably had 3 or 4 round 20 games just doing camo farming on Terminus before this, so I really didn't know what I was doing. But yeah, guys, just make sure you have Jug or Pack-a-Punch. Weapon, at least my weapon rarity was gold. If I didn't have gold, I probably would have went down here, but just keep in mind, always have a backup in zombies. So that's something really important. Like, before you go into doing something, be prepared. What is your first backup? Is it going to be using your ultimate ability? Is it going to be using your tactical or your lethal? Is it going to be popping a kill streak or a gobble gum? So just always have your backup planned, okay? That way you know how to react, and it will help you go down less. I also really wish I had Ether Shroud for this Easter egg, and I didn't have the Kill Streak Chopper Gunner unlocked yet. Those two things are huge, but still we were able to get it done. So now, pick up that mutation once you're done with those 3 different orb colors, and you're going to want to head back to the crafting room with that item, and now you can craft the Wonder Weapon. So, congratulations, that part is done. And just be careful not to get trapped in the room like I almost did and went down again. So just don't be too quick to grab that, get it towards the end of the round. Here I went ahead and popped a Gobblegum, and now we have all the perks. So next, once you have your Wonder Weapon, you're going to want to head down here to the trap. There's 2 traps in this room, and to find the right trap to shoot with the Wonder Weapon to get the keycard, you'll see a red little keycard on the ground. There it is with the arrow right there, and that lets you know you're at the right trap so you don't waste any essence. And turn on the trap and shoot it, and it's going to drop a hard drive. Next, go ahead and deposit that hard drive up here in the spawn area. And here kind of just shows how good the KSV really is. It's only round 13 and I have it pack-a-punch with gold rarity, so honestly most guns are going to kind of melt, but you can really see the movement, the sprint to fire, which is really important in zombies, and the rate of fire and the mag size with movement. You get an 80 mag when it's pack-a-punched and you're still able to zip around and hip fire good, so this gun's really solid. Next, this part right here, once you get the hard drive and go back and interact with the guy in the tube, I made a mistake right here. I looped back into my train, so do not make this error I just did. I wasn't aware of how big the train was, and I really should have gone down here. I miraculously didn't, but just run in the same direction and don't loop back into your train like I did, okay? And then once you kill this dude, there's going to be a cutscene. The girl shoots him in the head, kills him, whatever. Then go up here, computer, interact with this computer, and then also, once I interacted with this computer, I went back down here to get this key card. It wasn't spawning in, and I went and interacted with the computer, and then the first time I went to dive back in the water after interacting with it, it spawns. So I'd say interact with computer, dive for the key card. Then I just went up to it and was spamming the interact button a bunch of times. That's what the tutorials were telling me. I didn't get any visual or audio indicator, but I just figured I'd head to the ship and give it a try with the key card I dove for, and the key card let me into this room. There's also a little intel item right there if you want to pick that up. But then once you interact with one of the devices on the table, it's going to be a lockdown situation. And I thought this part was going to be one of the most difficult steps of the Easter egg solo, but it was actually really easy. Just stay moving around, try to keep your shields up, use your mini-map if you can. As you notice, sometimes the mini-map won't pick up the spawns, but just keep rotating around the room and use your hip fire really well. And also, like I said earlier, just have your backup plan ready. What's your backup plan going to be in here if you go down? Is it going to be popping a Gobblegum? Excuse me. Is it going to be using your ult? Is it going to be using a monkey bomb? Like I have 2 monkey bombs right here. So just always have your backup plan decided. That way you don't need to think of it on the spot. And that's actually a huge tip in FPS gaming in general, not even zombies. Just always have your backup plan ready to go. So once you've finished that, you can head over here. There's 2 or 3 spots you're going to use those 2 items to repair. The pipeline's to the left of that light right there, but that one was already in, so I knew the other 2 spots, since it's only 2 of 3 locations. So first location wasn't it, so I know these next 2 are. The first one's going to be in the cave room that kind of leads to the underground area, and then the third one is going to be below the tower here at the docks, and you just go ahead and interact with it. You do have to go back to the ship to get the second item, by the way. So then go up to this area again, and you're gonna get a device to hack the buoys. It's like a hacking laptop, and what I recommend is just pulling up to the buoy like this, ghost riding it, and just shooting the parasites while you're getting into the buoy. That way you can take them out and just simply interact with the buoy without being annoyed. Doesn't take too long, and there's 3 of them around the islands. You just triangulate the buoys. There's 3 of them. This part was kind of tricky. The first 2 went well, because once you're done with the buoys, it's going to put you in here and you have to like defuse these bombs. I'd recommend using monkey bombs. If you have ether shroud, do ether shroud. And then I had a massive brain fart here. This was like, look at this fail. So instead of just deciding, I had 2 minutes left, 2.5 minutes, but I felt like rushed, and I had a massive brain fart. And look at how hard, I mean, I should have stopped right here. I was like, oh, I can hard stick it. And I mean, what a dumb play that was. And I could have just stopped and ran up those steps for free. So just slow down, don't like rush things. I definitely was rushing this step. I mean, look at how easy my gun melts that dude anyways. I could have just fried him to begin with. And then I almost went down again, or at least trapped myself. Also, I'm pretty sure if you need to, you can just jump into the water and be fine. But anyways, so just be careful on those 2 steps. Alright guys, so here we are in the boss fight. Now when you spawn in, I just instantly started shooting the red orbs on his like armpit area. Those are the crit spots, so just focus the crit spot. That's where you want to be doing your damage. And this is also why I selected a high rate of fire gun with decent range, just to max out the DPS with bullets and stuff. And so when you strafe left to right in the front dock here like this, if you do get your timings right, when he does that power slam attack he just did, he'll kill whatever's in the front of the dock. So really you just gotta train your zombies, and he'll kill your train for you, if you get what I'm saying, because his attack will kill whatever's there. So just train left and right. It took me a little bit to figure this out. I'm not sure if this clip will show him slamming the front. I mean, he did, but he definitely just killed a bunch, so just keep that in mind. Like, my train's gone, as you can see. So the first stage of this boss fight's pretty straightforward, and it's pretty simple. You get a good feel for the area, and again, you're just going to want to target the red spots. I went in with pretty low essence because it costs 5,000 to fill up my ammo, and I only have 5,500. So one thing I will say is what almost got me down on this boss fight was not going in with enough essence to resupply my ammo. I would probably say you're going to want to go in with at least 15 to 20,000 to be safe. But I was able to do it without, and I probably got some RNG luck, but we made it work. And as you can see, he just did that slam killing the train, so you just kind of want to go left to right on this guy. And he'll pretty much kill your train for you while you're farming damage on him. You just want to stay moving around. And also another thing is, if you do go into the boss fight with low ammo, the only way you're going to get essence is by shooting the train. You're not going to get essence by shooting the boss, if you get what I'm saying. So if you're low on essence, you need to get kills, like how I'm doing here, to not only get essence, but shield resupplies, which is huge. And unless there's certain gobble guns you can bring in to like give you shields, I do have one of them that's bound to my, I think that's a 9, and then 7 is the unlimited fire. I forget both of the names of the gobble guns, but those are pretty good ones. And yeah, just keep that in mind. You're gonna want to be managing your money, unless you come in with a lot of money to begin with, then you don't need to worry about it. So this back right corner here is really good for cover, and then also this back left corner, there's like 2 areas where you can't get hit. They're kind of like safe areas. And so this is between the first and second stage. And don't forget, I decided to take in the wonder weapon because it has that really cool secondary fire. The mouse 1, or the main fire, is like a laser beam, which does pretty good damage. And then the secondary fire for it is like this kind of effect that just kind of slows down the enemies, and you can really like apply that to your trains or in areas where you need to just save time. You know, if you get to one shot, you can use that secondary fire feature to basically slow everything down. So that's pretty strong. And during this time, you just kind of want to run around, and this is a good time to actually farm some kills, some shields, and essence and ammo. So I got a good max ammo right there, and now we're on phase 2 of this fight. Phase 2 gets a little bit more difficult because more elite zombies spawn in, and as you can see, the crit area is now his mouth. So you basically want to target all of your shots into his mouth area right there. Pause. And when you're shooting him, just be very mindful of your armor and situation like that. Also, have your backup plan ready. Like I've been saying, always when you're in this boss fight, like before I went in, I had 2 gobblegums. I had the mutant injector because I wasn't able to get a chopper gunner. I don't have it unlocked, and I didn't get RNG lucky with a chopper gunner spawn. So I knew I kind of had 3 options, and my ult wasn't going to save me. If I had Ether Shroud, that would have definitely been a primary backup plan for me, because Ether Shroud is amazing. But since I don't, really my only backup plans are my 4 key, which is the mutant injector, and my 2 gobblegums. So just assess what your backup plans are and have it ready to go. Okay, my first plan is going to be this, you know, and since the second stage is more difficult than the first, and the third stage is more difficult than the second, you kind of can, you know, designate your abilities to certain stages if you like. And now, as you can see, I'm low on ammo, which I was like, crap, and you're going to want to target his tentacles this time. Kind of forget what I end up doing here. I think I kind of just slow things down and kind of play for my own sake a little bit more. This is kind of when I was realizing, like, okay, I'm low on ammo. Now I have enough to buy ammo, which is good. But I think since I don't have any shields, I was really kind of in this state of like, okay, I need to really be mindful of when I take damage and avoiding getting hit in easy spots. And I really utilize his attack to kill my train, so I keep just going left to right, when it's safe, of course. As you can see, it works out very well. And if you ever need to, don't be afraid to jump into the water. I use the water so much in the later stages of this boss fight. It's actually like a great strat to jump into the water and move around, not to stay in one spot. And yeah, going back to me not having chopper gunner, another thing I realized I could have done is, instead of just not using any of that salvage, I could have bought more monkey bombs, like 2 monkey bombs. That's, I think, about 2,000 salvage. I think 1 monkey bomb's 1,000. So, and then here I didn't have shields, and there was a bunch of elites and stuff, so I was like, crap, I'm just gonna use that gobble gun for shields. And I think it lasts 3 minutes, which is crazy, and your shields are way stronger. So we finished stage 2 of the boss fight. We're going into stage 3. As you can see, it's just a lot of attacks and crap happening, visual effects for days. It's kind of crazy, but just stay moving around. It's pretty straightforward. Definitely going to want to have perks and stuff. I think the perks that I have, I don't even have all the perks, but I think the ones that I'm using are essential for this boss fight, especially Deadshot, because it gives you bonus crit damage. So bonus headshot damage on zombies and stuff, huge. So I go down here because I didn't know this like ultimate attack. So if in stage 3, when he's charging up like that, it will kill you, I guess, if you're anywhere on the top. So after getting down there, that's when I was like, okay, I know no tutorial I watched talked about that much, so just be prepared in stage 3 of the boss fight. Also, I thought I was trapped behind him now back here. I was like, crap, I can't get to the front. And I was like, alright, so let me jump back in to avoid this power ult that he does, where it just insta-kills everything. Jump into the water and then come back up. So I was like, crap, I'm gonna have to do the rest of the boss fight back here. I'm trapped. But it turns out all you need to do is just jump into the water and swim around to the front ladders, and I figured that out probably sometime shortly, but yeah, it looks like right about here. I was like, oh, I can just swim around him. So don't think you're trapped back there. Here's his charge up ability. Just kills everything instant. And now I was in a spot where I was like, okay, no armor plates. Stage 3 of the boss fight. He's about 30 HP, it looks like. Or 30% of his HP, you know? So I went ahead and popped my mutant injector here. And I initially intended to use it on the train that I had, but they kind of just got farmed. And then I realized, I was like, you know what? Let me use this on the boss. And look at the health bar. It does pretty good damage. I wasn't hitting his crit spots. I wasn't too sure where they were exactly, if it was his whole skull, if it was his whole head. But when he's in that blue kind of state where he turns like white, and like how he is right there, white and bluish, his crit spots are those eyes on his head, those 3 orb things. So you're definitely going to want to isolate those to get max damage. Obviously they're smaller crit spots, so they're a little harder to hit, but keep that in mind if you use your mutant injector. Try to shoot the cannon at those crit spots. And then here, since I was low on ammo, I popped the Gobblegum for the unlimited ammo, basically. No reload needed, and you don't use any of your ammo. So, unfortunately, I had to dodge the attack, just jumped in the water when I popped the Gobblegum. But I was still able to utilize it a bit. And you really just want to play your life, you know. Don't rush things, take your time. Keep moving around. And when you jump into the water, be careful of what's on top of the ladder in front of you, because you can, like that, just get slammed. And as you can see, these blue lines on the screen indicate he's charging up for the insta-kill attack, so I just jumped in the water again. And we have him pretty good. He's probably like 20% of his full health, so he's pretty low. Definitely the final stages. Probably should have been ADS shooting right there to really hit that crit spot with as much accuracy as possible. As you can see right there, we got some good shots in, and I noticed this thing was like spawn camping me on the ladder. I was like, alright, that's freaking cool. So I just decided to go to the other one because I didn't want to go down this late into the setup and boss fight, all that work. So, and even if I did go down and died, it's all good, you know, you just run it back. But really utilize the water, and yeah, you should be good. What other tips do I have to give for you guys? I think the big thing's going in with like 15,000, but at the same time, I didn't want to go in too late because you know, it's round 27, and if I didn't go down in the bomb defusal stage, the last step right before this boss fight, I would have had all of my perks from that Gobblegum perkaholic. So in hindsight, if you do bring in those really good Gobblegums, I would just save them for right before when you go into the boss fight, just so you don't waste them necessarily, because I popped mine early and thought it was going to help, but then I ended up going down right before the boss fight, and then I had to wait. It added like an extra 5 rounds, so really I could have been into the boss fight at like round 22 probably, and I'm not sure if there is a correlation between the round and the health of all of the zombies spawning in and the boss itself per you know, I'm not sure if it's like a set standard regardless of what round it's a certain difficulty, or if it scales with the rounds. But either way, just be aware of when to use your Gobblegums and such so you don't, quote, waste them. And as you can see, I'm shooting the back of his head. It's doing like no damage, and I was like, alright, I just need to get back into the front again. So make our way to the front. got pretty low right there. It was pretty low HP. I was like almost one shot basically. Glad that one, I don't know why that didn't hurt me, but it looked like it should have, honestly. Probably got lucky there, but we're getting them so low. We're also getting pretty low on ammo. I do have my wonder weapon still on my secondary, and the tutorials I was watching, you really want to watch out for his tongue. I think his tongue can like one-shot you. So if you ever see his tongue out on the dock here, just be very careful of that. Avoid the tongue at all costs. And he's so low, guys. Look at his HP. This is when I dived in the water. I was like, crap. Another tip, when you dive into the water, you can also apply armor plates, so that's a really good time to put on armor. And look at his health, guys. He's so low. He is so low. I was like, oh, we got him. I was like, I'm gonna do this. But I felt like I needed to reset one more time. His tongue was out right here, and I'm really glad I didn't get one shot by it right there. And now we're basically out of ammo, so I was like, alright, we'll finish him off with the wonder weapon. His claw was like blocking the laser right there, so just be aware of if your bullets are actually hitting the crit spot or not. You definitely want to pay attention to that. And I mean, look at how low his health was, and I still chose to play it safe and wrap around, dropped into the water. I applied a shield right there. That's a perfect example of not rushing things, right? Even though he's literally like 1% of his full health, I still just decided to, you know what, let me jump off, reset, plate up, and then finish him off next run around. I mean, he is, look at that sliver of health. That is probably, he was so low. And then we got him. So guys, that's basically my tips and tricks in hindsight and how I did it first try. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll answer any questions you guys have relating to this. And yeah, appreciate you guys watching. Like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Has been very difficult for you, Pack. Humiliating even. But at least we eliminated that monster and Moldy. Gather in the guard station. I have a proposal that I believe may interest you.